All right, so
lettuce and tomato, and I have Italian dressing in my fridge, so I don't need anything on it. Dry. That's what I'll have.
wait. I can't call because my phone's being used.
Yes.
Because we're in our second part of today's
Oh, we're in the mist?
It's a
We're in the
sec-
third
it's
part
a-
now because we had one earlier.
pod face.
No, what is the second one?
Or wait, what is it? Face
Face
pod.
pod.
Did you hear what I said though? It sounded like a cross between,
Yes.
what was it? It was the face suckers and the pods from.
Okay, Bobby's gonna get something
Alien?
too, so we'll wait.
No. Well, yeah, it could be, but I was thinking more of
I watched the Alien last
Night
night,
of the
that's
Living
why.
Dead. Remember that? That cheap one that was shot in Pittsburgh? Anybody ever watch that? Black and white?
No.
Maybe. I'm sure I have.
have.
I'm sure I have. I've seen like 90% of all zombie
So
movies.
I'm so glad that Reba has joined us because she's the only one that watched my half-hour movie.
Oh my god, I definitely did, and
You
that
watched
was
the whole thing?
awesome. I did. At first, I was gonna watch it on my
What
phone,
happened there?
and my husband's like, "Why are you watching it on the?"
We have
tiny
another
screen?"
guest.
Who's that?
That's Clint. Oh, we're not supposed to say real names
Oh,
on it. We have
here
a
go.
podcast. And it's filming right now.
We have a
Making me look bad, man. Answer your phone.
what?
I just transferred a call in here.
Who was it?
Ronald Ripken.
John, come here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware of this yet, but we have a daily podcast. Actually, we call it a Face Pod,
Yeah.
where we discuss. Now, you're down the hall, but I'm sure sometimes you hear some of our crazy conversations.
I do. That
Don't you-
lady is from a radio station or something.
Kimberly? I mean, no.
Yep.
Oh!
Maybe.
We're not
Gee.
supposed to use actual names because we want it to be
We're all getting in
anonymous.
trouble.
And he does all the time.
So anyway, do you think that our conversations sometimes would warrant
A straight jacket.
someone else spending the time to listen?
No.
No. Well, I questioned
It's a
that
personal
myself.
investment kind of thing. Like you have to be.
But we're gonna do it anyway
nuts
because-
and you talk about garbage all the time, so I don't know.
Well, you know, the only thing I can think of is that there's probably people that sit in their office and have no conversation.
That's true.
That's true.
I'm out
Right?
unattended.
Like me and Rob. We're quiet as church mice.
You can always, participate as long as, Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's lunchtime, right?
I heard something about him being Obi-Wan Kenobi or something.
No, he's Joe G1.
And that's how loud you guys talk. I could hear you down the hall.
Down the hall.
Uh,
Down the hall is about 20 feet.
Yeah, just so people know that
Actually, with the door closed.
our office
Yeah, but you
is.
know.
With the door closed.
The door is not
Oh,
closed.
Our
guesstimate,
office
you
is
know.
actually look like an office
They
trailer.
Open the door so I can't watch.
It looks like we're in an office trailer on the
Kitchen
second
door's
floor.
I
So you
mean,
can't watch him?
do you have anything like, important to contribute to this blog?
Those are fighting words,
Oh,
man.
sometimes.
What are you trying to say? What I don't talk about
I mean,
important?
earlier we were talking about the government's contribution to the
And how
drug.
The opioid crisis?
Yeah.
A guy got
Just
so
say
messed
no.
up.
That's something that's a
It's a crack
subject
thing.
that's very
I mean,
relevant
that
to this.
was the beginning of
Yeah.
everything.
And
Just
it's
say no.
always been. I
But
mean,
they also were talking
we were talking about
about
Afghanistan and the poppy fields.
how a
and
guy
we allowed
overdosed
them.
on meth and an alligator ate him.
Now,
That's
that's
not-
what it's still
You
going.
Oh, that was like,
Who talked about that? Wait, who talked about that? I don't even
I
believe
brought
that
up this
story.
discussion. Well, see, here's the
That
thing.
was awesome. I said, poor alligator, he was roofied.
Yeah.
That wasn't even fair. He had no idea what he was signing up for.
Let me ask you this question because you might have actually saw this video. It's about a half an hour long. It's called Kung Fury.
Oh my god. Hilarious.
Cool.
It's like a video game
Okay.
movie.
Listen, you got to look it up.
It's awesome.
It's on YouTube. Everybody's waiting for a new one, but they need to make a full length.
The
I don't
only
know.
thing I watch
Yeah.
on YouTube is Trump and serial killers. That's it.
Oh, come on.
Do you equate the two?
Yeah,
Similar, yes.
I'm from New York City. I've known Trump my
See,
whole adult life.
And here,
Yeah.
well, that's what I say too. When people ask me, I said, "Look, I lived in New York City.
I lived less than a quarter
I know
mile
he's
from
been
his
a
childhood home.
scumbag
My
since
parents
day
still
one.
own the house.
So here's the thing. The one thing good about this is that we have pro-Trump,
Anti-Trump.
anti-Trump. We
And I
have.
was
Don't
a
give
Republican.
up.
My thing
Nothing
is,
about anybody.
is when we talk, it's
Paige, I don't have
it's
any of
D's
these.
and R's, and I think what drives me crazy the most is that people are so dedicated to one or the other
Yes.
that they're blinded.
That they just don't. They choose not to see.
I
what's
try
right
to
in front of
give
them.
the man the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe they all are trying to be out together. But I know him.
But they're.
Please the order.
He's
Well, here's the thing, here's the thing.
Lord.
Yes.
Here's the thing, right? When you started the run, I said, "Oh my goodness," because you know there's already stuff there. And what bothers
Yeah, he
me,
is.
look, I'm glad that
That's
there's
my
a lot of
boyfriend.
things that did happen that are good so far. But everything's there, and the thing is too that he's in that whole group too.
But then
He
the whole economy
gave.
thing-
I mean, he was at what's her face's wedding. I mean, he's given more money to the Democratic
To
Party.
the Clintons and everything.
Yes,
The
I know.
only reason he ran as a Republican was because he said he would only get elected as a Republican.
I want
Right.
you to
Because
know
they're
that
stupid
story.
enough to
That
elect
story was proven false.
him. That's not true.
That story was proven
He
false.
went on Howard Stern and
Even by Snoops or Snopes or whatever it is, they've even said, and they're always to the left.
But that whole thing about the economy being so great now and all that stuff, that's riding on the coattails of the Obama administration. It's not.
Oh my goodness, please.
It's not because of him. He-
Oh please.
What did
Listen,
Obama do?
You
here's the
think- you
deal.
think
Here's the deal.
that
Nobody does
when
anything.
tariffs
when
on
you're
China
worrying
Tariffs on
about the
China
future of your
is
business,
helping
okay?
people in
You
America.
don't know what to do, okay? Because you have people that are doing things that are going to harm business as a whole. So you back off. You don't invest
Wanna
into your
order
company.
lunch?
you
Yeah,
don't
I get the
hire
whole-
people.
Bobby wants a grilled chicken
Hands
sandwich.
That's what happened.
Laissez-faire.
That
I got
is exactly what happened. That once
I hate ordering.
corporations were able to
Regulated,
breathe
yes.
and things like that, that's why they started to hire. That's how we ended up where we are.
See
But
my
the
name
trend was
tag?
already there.
Oh my goodness.
Here's what Bobby
It
does.
really was.
Who's ordering food?
You are.
I can't order food because we're talking on our podcast.
But, you know,
Dispatch. We give it to the dispatch.
What does John want?
What? See, if
I
you
don't
use
see
words
the
like that,
average
people will
American
know who we
working
are.
Joe benefiting from this booming economy.
I tell you
Do
what, my tax
What is
refund
your-
was not that great.
What is your? That's because they give you more in your paycheck.
No, they
Now
don't.
people who
Yeah.
have money,
Yes, they are.
Let's
Trump
come
passed
down.
that.
they're
That's
benefiting
true.
from
I
it.
get like $12
But we're not.
a paycheck.
See, I think.
Less does
if-
come
if-
out.
listen,
Office
Trump
that
passed that
happened.
last
Okay.
January.
So
I
listen,
get
this is what
$12 more.
this
in
is
my
what
check.
blows my mind the most.
You're not gonna fool me because I know
This is-
I only get $12 extra.
Do you believe in
That won't buy.
I don't
and
know.
that's
Stick it
not
up.
the same
I don't
as
know
the
what you would
earned
call
income credit
Trickle
or the
down
child
economics?
credit that I get three
No, no, no.
children for.
It's the way
That's
the
not
mind
the same.
thinks. If
So-
you're already entering into something with a negative
Yes, I.
look at something,
right.
it's
I understand
harder
that
for you to
concept.
see the positive.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think a lot of that has to do
This is
with
gonna
what you
get
see.
heated in
Me,
here.
No.
it's like I said, I'm
Bring
not a
Robin.
Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not. I'm.
The line.
My concern is for the country, yeah, for the individual first, because that's who we are. It's individual rights, individual freedoms, independence. As long as I'm not stepping on somebody else's independence or freedoms, that's who we are as a country.
Mhm.
Are you?
I'm registered.
In order, and I mentioned this last time, in order, right, in order to grow power, you have to take away people's individual liberties.
Yeah.
You have to take away their individual freedoms. Politicians know that, and that's the reason why they
that's
separate
right.
and label and cause us then to have these crazy
That's why
arguments.
George Bush, did the Patriot Act. Let's take away our freedom.
That should have had a sunset. I'm telling you, man. Because even at being somebody that watched the plane hit from the roof of my building, when they enacted things like that, I'm like, cool. But then when I started researching and see, well, wait, what do you mean it doesn't have a sunset? What do you mean it's not going to end at some point? It's just going to continue. That's messed up.
Yeah. And now the NSC can monitor any phone they
That's
want.
sickening. Okay, so here, Now, here's somebody that's
I need those two.
looking at this, and I am in complete agreement. But let me ask you a question. What about the things that Obama did that even added to it?
I don't know what Obama did. All I know is that the country was running just fine until this idiot took over.
By forcing people
Everybody
to
was
get
getting
healthcare.
along just
You
fine
at least
until Trump
see
came.
your preconceived ideas of someone, or your preconceived opinions.
If a president doesn't
unconstitutional.
make
Something
news
down.
and make waves, then he's doing a good job.
Oh. So then you don't have
Stay out
to.
of my life.
You don't have to upset an apple cart.
No, stay out of my life and give me more money in my paycheck. That's all I want.
I just want my regular taxes like they were before. That was fine. I wasn't complaining. Were you complaining?
You know,
I wasn't complaining.
I just
Anybody
again.
who doesn't realize that the system is stacked against the working poor is at their
All right, so let me ask you a question.
And they're an idiot.
Let me ask you a question. How do you see that getting better?
By, for one thing, having less control over people's lives. That's what you were just talking about.
Right, and I'm agreeing with that. But how do you go about doing that?
Well,
So we have another guest. This is Bobby Bobber.
now it's going to really get heated. Isn't it?
Whatever it is.
Yeah, Bobby, you need this discussion. You need to be
No
in
opinions on it.
He's the only one with a
Okay,
brain.
so
I'm
then
a
let me
big
ask you.
believer in laissez-faire government.
Let me ask. Yeah,
Let the
I'm
community take
small,
care of
small,
itself.
very small government.
Let
States'
the
right.
community take care of
I
Do
don't
we-
think so.
do we at
Because
least
if you
understand
let
what-
the community take care of themselves, the businesses will run everything.
Do we?
That's how
do we-
it is, but that's how it be.
Do we also
But
understand
that's because
this?
you've let
That
everything run themselves.
Yeah.
in the United States, right, it was set up so that the states are their own entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so then the federal part was really supposed to be small and
Just,
just
small oversight.
kind of a little oversight.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to that?
Bobby ordered.
Well,
one.
even income
What do you
taxes were
want?
only
Bobby,
supposed to be a
right, yeah,
temporary
yeah.
with everything.
What does your wife want?
Ham and cheese,
With what on it?
lettuce, pickles.
Pickles?
That's it.
Income taxes were only supposed to be a temporary measure. It was supposed to have a sunset.
And I want to have.
That's another thing too. I always like it as a
And now
temporary
it's
measure.
everything
Okay,
else
so
is
we
the government's
talked about
piggyback.
the what do you call it, right? The what do you call it? Act, right? It was supposed to be temporary. Everything is supposed to be temporary
But
until
that's
they put
the
it
truth.
in. Yeah.
John, what do you want
That's
for
FDR.
So
lunch?
here's my thing, right?
What do you
now,
want?
From where?
We're
Let's
getting
go back to
Hoagies,
Republicans on my thing.
Zappos.
All these Republicans are headstrong,
Everything works. Cheesesteak. Everything.
straight,
Cheesesteak.
backing
Works.
president no matter what.
No.
You know, they're straight like party. I mean, everything has been
I haven't
split
seen that.
party. Everything is split partisan right now.
Right
In the
now.
Senate, in the Congress,
divided, yeah.
everything
Everything, yeah.
is partisan. No
You are
Republican
correct about that.
is voting anything that the Republicans are not voting.
You know, there's a
to
guy that's
say
leaving-
they're going to stick by the
There's a guy
president
that's
no
leaving
matter
the
what happens.
Democratic Party
Yeah.
because he's
That's a
upset
little-
about this whole thing.
Is
You
he?
know, unconstitutional if you ask me.
So it goes both ways.
The president we have now is not the best one in the world.
So
Yes, after working for him in
Can
a
I-
casino for many years.
can I just go back again?
Go ahead. What?
Gotta stop seeing things with our preconceived ideas and maybe open our minds a little bit. It's obvious that both parties separate. They like to separate people and put them into categories and then tell them that they need them.
Yeah.
It's what they do to gain power. It really needs to go back to states. And this is the reason why I believe this, because I have the ability to move.
Yeah, but then you have states that gerrymander. So how can you do that?
I'm talking about
You
move from
could
state to
move.
state.
You could,
Right.
but then you have
I have a credit
gerrymandering,
card?
which defeats the purpose.
Where's my wallet?
Yeah,
Now,
because they just
getting
change
getting
districts
getting
around.
this. Let me go
I'll
back
move across
then.
the street, but they'll just draw the line differently.
Let me go
I'll
back
move that town,
and
they'll just draw the
then
line over here.
look at it in a business sense. And this is the reason why I was trying to get there, because we got a lot of people now that are socialists. They're not afraid to mention that.
Right.
They're open and honest about that.
They don't know what they wish for.
Right. My thing is this, because once you do that, you completely lose that individual liberty. And you do that by telling people that they need. They don't, that's class warfare. So the big rich guy, he's got it all and you deserve it. Now, if they worked hard to get it, they worked hard to get it. Now, a lot
But
of
off
people
of
didn't
whose
work
back?
hard
They
because
just
they just got it
were
from
born
their
into
mommy
it.
and daddy.
Yeah.
But off of whose back?
Yeah.
Here's-
Their-
here's-
their
That's the
ancestors.
Here's what I'm
With
trying to get at.
Business.
When especially early in, and I don't want to get into
I'm sure-
unions because
I'm sure
I just
Carnegie worked hard,
right,
but
No,
he
no,
also
no.
screwed people
Yeah.
his whole
When
life.
And we're going back then. Okay,
When
so this
Clinton
is when.
lifted the caps on the CEOs, that's when the problem started because your CEO was only making a certain percentage above your minimum wage worker. Now there's no cap. Now
Cap
your
is-
minimum wage worker, they're trying to pay them less and less every day.
Here's the point that I want
and
to
your
make.
CEO is making
I-
100
I-
times what the little guy
Okay,
is
so
making.
then I have a
How is
choice.
that fair?
I have a
States
choice whether or
control
not
minimum wage.
to
Yeah, but that doesn't
Not
matter.
I have a choice whether or not I want to deal with that company where that CEO is.
Yeah, but you don't have a choice.
You
on,
don't
on
have
your
a
living
choice. The
expenses.
companies are so big, you don't have.
That's
a
something
choice.
else. Now that's something else we could look at. Whatever happened to monopoly law?
Well,
It's gone.
if
It's
now
gone.
if you name it
The
something else, it's not a
deregulation,
monopoly.
Your orange friend's idea.
No. That's been going before
Well, I
that.
know that, but
Gee.
he supports it.
I don't think he was in office when like Apple blew up and Microsoft blew up.
They
And
just created
They get a different company
different
name
companies.
and it's fine.
Yeah. And,
I'll buy this one. I'll own this
and then
one.
once there's enough of them together, they merge them all.
Look,
And it's,
I like
it's a monopoly.
this. Somebody.
It's
Alan
a
got one too.
conglomerate.
Conglomerate.
Oh, it's
It's
from
not
Alan.
a monopoly.
Oh, because Alan knows.
So
Get
again,
your
let's
SAT
go.
words
Let's
for
go
that.
back to that though.
Trust busting.
Do you think it's going to get better or worse
They're too
if we
hardcore
go
for me.
socialist?
Well,
What?
in a lot of ways, it's going to be worse.
It's go. No.
You might have universal health care, and you might be able to
Here's
go
the
to college
thing.
for free, but
We always seem
you're not going to
to.
have anything else.
We get talked into the
do you
fact
mean
that
now?
everything is terrible
Universal health care.
and that we need their help. And then they enact laws and restrictions
So tell me-
that cause us to rely on them.
So tell me why they can have universal health care in other countries, but we can't have it here.
Well, you better take a look
Because
at
they
it.
don't have the rights that we do. They don't have the freedoms that we do.
What rights and freedoms don't they have in Canada?
I
A lot.
Have.
Have you?
What?
By
They're a monarchy.
in the
They're
conversations-
owned by
in the conversations that
family.
I've had with people
Can
that
they
are
not open
from
businesses?
Canada,
I don't know what
they're not
the
happy
rates
with
are.
their service.
No.
They are happy with their service. The
I'm
problem in Canada is that it may take a little bit longer.
Right.
Now, the Canadians, what they like to do is they come down here because it's faster here. That's the only reason they come to the States to get their medical attention. Because in the States, it's like 10 times more expensive to get their medical attention. So they'll pay it just so they don't have to wait the 2 months.
Anything
But
that's run by a
it's
bureaucracy is going to
free.
take a long time.
Like,
You're going to be waiting in line for stuff.
Here's the thing. Here's the
Holy.
thing.
but you're waiting in line here.
I'd much rather-
Now here, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I call a doctor, and I gotta wait 2 months.
I'd much
to see a
rather have the
specialist.
choice.
And I'm healthy.
Listen. I've been waiting for a dermatologist for
That's what I'm saying.
forever.
Anarchy
Now
forever.
I'm not dying of
Skin cancer
skin
or
cancer. I got skin tags I need removed, so it's not a big deal. But here's the thing. Again, we're liberties, individual liberties, right? We're a democratic republic, which means that we are a republic. The majority does not
Be
win.
quiet over there.
The majority does not win. Okay? If the majority won,
He's on my table.
let me ask you this. So if the majority won, we'd probably still have slavery, right? Where would there be rights, extra rights for women or gays or whatever? None of that stuff would
That's
be
all
there.
liberal stuff.
That's all. None of that stuff would be there because the majority would win.
We're liberals.
Here's,
have
here's
individual.
here's a good practical example of how hard it is to be a working person in this country. My example. Okay. First of all, in these days, you can't touch an apartment in this town for anything decent for less than $600 a month. Okay? The utilities are out of control, gas and electric, water even. They're very, very expensive. Food is high.
You lived in New York City and you think that it's high here?
Yeah.
Well, now it is. It never used to be that bad, but it is now.
Just because you live somewhere doesn't mean that
But they
you
get
can't
paid
make
more in New York
something
City.
out.
In New York
No, that's
City,
what
I
I
was
mean.
making $20 an hour.
Yeah, of course, because you have to live.
Yeah.
Huh?
But I could still survive. I mean, But here I come out with a negative $100 a month balance. And I live frugal. Negative $100. How do I do it? One month has to run into the next. Because it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to, you gotta steal from Peter to pay Paul. So when Alan tells me, oh, I love Trump because I'm making more money and all that stuff, yeah, I bet you are, and Brenda and whatever. You know, because they already have money, or more money than the average bear. But the hard-working, 40-hour-a-week working man is living in poverty and just making it for food, shelter, and utilities.
I say taxes.
Okay.
Taxes should be a percentage of what you make. That's it.
I also listen, and you want to
For
talk
everybody.
right.
A percentage. Same
I don't think
percentage
there should be any
for
income
everybody.
taxes at all.
Well, I mean that's a different
There
story.
should be use tax. There should be
You guys have a use tax.
sales tax. There should be,
Pennsylvania has a use tax.
should be
You're
sales
supposed
tax.
to be a good person.
You shouldn't tax on both ends.
I got 2 fleeces I wear in the winter. I've had this
You're
for like
supposed to be a good
7
person
years.
to pay it. When you buy stuff like on the board or bring
All
it over,
right.
you're
So
supposed to
now
send them a
that
check or
we've gotten
something.
all to this is my thing. I would much rather be, and like I said, we're leaning on socialism, and I would much rather be able to choose than to be told.
Me too.
That's first.
I agree.
Second, no matter who you have in power, see, that kind of a government breeds even
I
more
have a
greed
question on choose to be told.
on those that are in power.
Go ahead. Rearrange yourself. Choose or be told.
Get ready. She got a big one coming.
Vaccination.
What?
Vaccination.
Oh my goodness, that's a completely
Nobody
different.
forces vaccination.
So here's the thing.
They are.
Yeah, if you go to school,
Yeah.
you can't send your
Oh, yeah,
kids to school.
Any
You
school
can't
now,
keep
you
this
got all
without
the shots.
measles and all
Yeah.
that stuff. That's why the whole new thing happened in New York with the Jews, because the Jews don't vaccinate their kids. Measles all over the freaking place.
Yeah, well, you know, you can't choose to pray in school either.
Yes, you can.
Who gave you? Who took that choice away?
You can pray in school if you want. Your
Not
teacher
out
cannot
loud.
pray. Your teacher cannot pray to her kids.
Well, there's
But
something
since
wrong with that.
when did a
There's
school
something
become
seriously
a
wrong with
religious
that.
organization?
Because this country was
No,
founded
it wasn't.
under God,
No, it
indivisible,
Well,
with
it
liberty
was.
and
It
justice
was.
for all.
For all.
Listen, it was.
Okay.
It's the reason why we're here, first
I'll
of
agree
all.
with you.
But it's
Freedom of religion means that I have the freedom
To
to,
re-
not practice.
exactly
Exactly.
right.
It's a choice.
While I'm
And everybody
praying,
else
you
has
can
the
shut
freedoms
up.
to do what they want.
It's true.
But as long as you don't, because what blows my mind on that is when people say, it's freedom from religion.
No.
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 No. It's freedom.
It should be.
And that whole thing that was added, right?
It should be freedom from religion because the government should not run based on a religion.
But not having
It
a
doesn't.
religion such as like atheism or agnosticism is still a religion.
Well,
Still a belief in
but I don't
something.
believe. I don't consider myself an atheist or an agnostic or anything.
all of our
I was
all
raised Roman Catholic.
of our original
Well, then
laws
there's-
say
and my
there's-
traditions
So was
tend
I.
to be Roman Catholic, but I don't consider. I don't
Here's
pray.
what
I
you
don't
want to
practice, I
do.
don't go to
You
church.
want to look
raised
at
the
you want to look at
pagan.
authors. You want to look at founders.
You
And
were.
you want to look at intent. Okay, this is intent.
Wait, I was talking about vaccinations. How the hell did we get on religion?
Because you brought it up.
Because you did.
I
Because
brought the Jews
brought
up.
people
Right.
get out.
So
People
now
get
bring
out
up
of
the
I
that.
had to bring up the Jews.
People get out of that for religious
beliefs.
beliefs.
Yeah,
So it is. It's the
But-
same. It's the same topic to some
but
extent.
it's a general consensus because vaccinations are for the general public.
The public good, in a way, yeah.
So
And I don't
how-
see any
So
reason
then-
why anybody
so
would.
then here-
Is it a choice?
So then here
Or should it
is
be
this
mandatory?
person's individual liberties, their individual freedoms that they're choosing not to. Does that step on somebody else's?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
What is
It
what is
does.
that Star Trek thing?
Because what if my child
the
is
Betty.
sick with a heart condition
Not the
and I
one,
can't vaccinate my
like, who's
child?
dying at the
So now
same-
my child has to go to school with your child who you chose not to vaccinate, and your child gets the measles and gives it to my child, which I
And dies.
can't. and then my child dies from the measles.
No, I agree.
Well,
with
you have.
So whose fault
in
is
the
that?
United States, you could sue. Probably in Canada,
Well,
you
it's
couldn't.
the other guy's fault. That child was
I wonder what-
able to be
I wonder what the
vaccinated,
tort
and
law
the
looks
parent
like up
chose
there.
not to.
How many-
My
how
child
many
was not
malpractice-
able
Kill
to
a
be
guy with a
vaccinated
wig, and you know.
because of a heart
So we're
condition
going
or
back. We're
some
going back
medical
to the
condition.
cost of
Let's
health
say.
care in this country.
In that case, that's where vaccinations become an issue. Like, I don't like the vaccination schedules that they have now. I think they give kids way too many vaccines at one time. Like, they'll give my kid like 4 vaccines at one time. Boom, boom,
See,
boom.
Never
boom.
hurt me. They
That's
gave me that thing. I
crazy.
still have the mark on
we
my
still
arm.
got marks
That's
on our
crazy.
arms.
But you
No, that's
got
the mumps.
one. You went and you got one vaccine.
Yeah,
You
it
got two
had
vaccines.
one.
needles.
It had
I
a
know.
dozen needles in one thing.
I know, but it was one.
But it's just what he says. It was one needle with 4 different medicines in it.
Yes.
Where they just put it here, here, here. And they
Gigantic.
spread it out. They spread it out.
We have
Freaking
scars
bandage.
from it.
Yeah.
It's spread out.
There's
now,
a
that's
big
all.
hole in my arm, like a big crater.
Yeah.
Like right up
Yeah, I
here.
know. My parents have it. I can't, you guys. I do have work. Come
So
on, Emily,
listen.
let's go.
So topic of
We're going to
discussion.
smoke.
Yeah.
A topic
Ready
of
to smoke? You guys
discussion
stress me
in our
out.
Now I
next
have to have a
episode.
cigarette.
It's gonna be
Maybe we'll
continued.
touch on the founders a little bit. And
Okay.
intent.
okay.
I
I gotta get ready. I gotta go home, write some
I
pointers
had something
down,
else in my head that was important, but I'll remember it.
do a little research.
Anyway.
Robber barons.
It had
The
to do-
Rockefellers
It had
and
more
the
to do with
Carnegie.
it had more to do with the vaccination thing. I can't remember what it was.
Control over.
It probably had to
body.
do with
I
when
bet
we
you
went
have
to
some
school and
provisions about that.
you could duck and cover. You know what duck and cover is?
Oh yeah.
Yes, duck and cover. That was
You're not old enough to
That's
have.
even before my time.
No way! How old
Yeah.
are you?
I'm 60.
He's older
So
than
am
you.
I. We had duck and cover.
So when I was I didn't have that.
No, we had under the
Where
table.
did you live? Up in Buffalo,
Philly.
Philly,
Yeah.
We had to go under
New
the
York
table.
City. No, I never.
Or
had
in the
it.
hallway.
I guess they figured, look, what's the
In the hallway.
use?
And I went to
Tucked down
I went to
in the
Catholic
hallway.
school, so
Listen,
that could be
they
why.
figured, what the use? They're going to hit New York. You ain't going to duck and cover. Ain't going to help you. All right, we're done for
All
today.
right, and.
Bye.